that's what I thought. Okay. Let's join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Mr. Wright, would you help us with a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilman Thomas. Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Okay, thank you. Communications from elected officials, other officials, and agencies of the county. And I believe, Mr. Wright, you have a letter for us?
I do. Thank you, Mr. President. This is something that, if you'll recall, Judge Mulliken had brought up in one of her prior sessions before the council. This is a letter of support for a second magistrate position. If you'll recall, Judge Mulliken described this is a different process than a new court or a new judge. It's something that the Indiana Supreme Court has more control over, and the early indications seem to be they recognize the county's growing need for a relief valve for the juvenile court. And so this letter reads as follows. Dear Judge Mulliken, please accept this letter as written acknowledgement of the Vigo County Council's support of Vigo County's application for a second magistrate position through the Indiana Supreme Court. The Vigo County Council understands its obligation, if the application is approved, to support this request financially for the county portion of the salary for the second magistrate position, which is listed at $41,193.
Okay, thank you. Any other communications from elected officials, elected officials or other officials or agencies of the county?
Can I tie into what
Yeah, oh, yes,
Mr. Wright shared?
absolutely.
I don't know, it's been about a month since we were at
Yeah.
Juvenile. Councilman Thacker and myself spent a day at Juvenile, and also last week I was there for something at the Juvenile Center, and to see the amount of cases going through those courts, just for anyone who's not been aware of that, this is something we desperately need. There's a lot of mandates since they are under the age of 18 and with families, and if there's any doubt about it, please talk to either one of the judges or to Dan Kelly, who's there right now serving as magistrate, or even some of us, because it covers a lot of things that I think a lot of people don't realize, including child support and other kinds of services with Department of Child Services. So, cannot stress enough, we need to do this.
Any other comments or communications from elected officials or agencies? Mark, you have anything for us tonight? Good. Okay. Then let's talk about report from committees, and the first thing we'll have to talk about that is the chairperson of the budget committee. Would you like to give us an update?
We're plugging along, trying to see how we can best spend the taxpayers' generous contributions, and we should, I believe we have maybe one more committee meeting
Okay.
before we bring it to the council as a whole.
Okay. And I know that I talked to Maria about this, and we talked about it being on the agenda, but she wanted to give us an update on what we're doing on tax abatement scoring.
So I was waiting to hear exactly when we think we can get it in front of council, but the process that we've been working on is at this point just a small group of us from the city and myself, and then Cheryl has been involved involved too, since she deals with the abatement part from the auditor's office, just to look at some of the forms. And then the goal is probably within the next month, get a few more eyes on it. Several people had reached out that they'd be willing to look at that and help with that. And then also involve maybe economic development, and then obviously our legal counsel to take a look at it. Goal-wise, I would love to get it into people's hands by September, and then up for whatever kind of vote we need to do in October.
Okay, any questions or any other updates? Yeah, oh yeah.
I will give you an
Sure.
update if you want. Something, a couple things you guys have really been instrumental in. Posted on social media today, they started laying the base for the Riley Trail.
Yes.
And they will start paving that here in the next few days. So we're getting closer every day.
And then the roof is, I see that the courthouse, the dome, they've painted, but are they gonna do the very top?
Yeah, and the gold is only the first coat. There's 2 more coats, so.
So it might get a little better looking.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be like, yeah, I just called him earlier today to find out where they were at. Last week, the rain held them off.
Oh, yeah.
And then I guess maybe the wet temperatures, but I suspect that it'll be back tomorrow. One more thing, and you all know, but tomorrow is a ribbon
Yes.
cutting for the General Services Building. That was something you guys all helped with
Yes.
again. That was ARPA funding, as was some of the trail and
Yes.
next level trails. So invite anybody to that tomorrow.
2 o'clock?
2 o'clock, yep, down next to the jail.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a great example of us all working together for a common goal.
Yeah, it turned out really well, so
Yes.
thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, if not, then we'll move on to number 5, resolution and ordinance other than appropriation. The first one we have up is public safety lit, options for distribution to units for distribution in the 2025, it should read it. And Michael, you have something for us on that?
Yes, this is going to just read this into the record, just so it's clear. Notice is hereby given to the taxpayers of Vigo County, Indiana, that the county council will conduct a public hearing on resolution 2024-12 on Tuesday, August 6, 2024 at 5:00 p.m. in the council chambers located at Vigo County Government Center, 127 Oak Street, Terre Haute, Indiana. The county council will consider the following proposed resolution 2024-12 regarding the local income tax imposed within Vigo County on August 13th, 2024 at 5:00 p.m. at the same location.
And that is, I didn't say, but that is on the calculations on that is our page 7 for the council members to look at.
That's correct. That's correct. So, in essence, if you're looking at your page 7 and you're looking at the rates, you'll see that there is no difference between the existing rate and the proposed rate. The request for modification is not related to those. Rather, it is related to the specific requests that the county receives from the volunteer fire departments. So that's what's been modified. And the formula calculating those amounts is what is really being.
And that's based on
proposed.
the number of actual runs, and then we do a 65-35 split.
That's right.
Okay. And I did notice, and Cheryl reviewed it with me, if you look at the Nevins Township, it's a small amount, but as you know, we've had Lost Creek Department has been picking up those runs, and then that's why Nevins is reduced.
That's correct.
Anybody had any questions on that? So, other than that, we just need to read that in the record.
Yeah.
What do we have to do on resolution 2024-12? It's just that we would next week, if this is suitable, then we would accept that modification, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Any questions about that for Mr. Wright or for Karen and Judy? Hearing none, then we'll move along to the next one. Ordinance related to appropriation, first reading, additional appropriation ordinance 2024-70. It's the clerk's perpetuation fund, contract services. And then I believe that's on, starts on our page 8. Leanne or Elizabeth or whoever? Let's see.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We are proposing ArcaSearch. Steve Fears is here to give you a demonstration on the proposed digitizing of all of the records and how it can be done. We realize it can't all be done at one time, but we do need to get it started at some point. So I'm going to this is Steve Fears. He's from ArcaSearch. He will go ahead and go forward with the presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, Vigo County Council members. Thank you very much for inviting us today to present to you the solution for the Circuit Clerk's Office to preserve and to make available permanent records that are vital to the county's interests. I want to thank Brad Newman and Leanna and Elizabeth for inviting us, and also it's been a pleasure to work with them for this project. It's been going on for quite a while, probably over 2 years now we've been working on this. Again, my name is Steve Fears, and I'm here representing actually two companies. I'm representing ArcaSearch Digital Preservation and Goldfinch Digital Transformation. And on the line here, I've got Gary Fincher, who's actually in Panama City, Panama right now, speaking at a conference, and is on my phone. Gary, want to say hi? Gary?
Can you hear me okay, Steve?
Yep. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to remote in here. Kudos to, I believe it was Scott that helped us get this set up. And we're excited to be able to talk to you about the work that we've been doing with the team, as Steve had mentioned. And we appreciate the privilege and opportunity to be able to talk to you today about some methods and timelines and budget items for preserving the records that you guys keep for the public records or permanent records. So thank you. It's good to be here.
You're welcome.
Okay, like I said, I'm here today representing two companies, ArcaSearch Digital Preservation and Goldfinch. And the reason I've got two companies here is we've got two specialized disciplines. We have one that specializes in bound and pinned books, like what we have in the clerk's office and over at the 911 center, and actually at the warehouse too. They're all over the place. And we have specialized equipment that we've built, patented, and utilize with on-site personnel, on-site at the county, to digitize and preserve the records and put them into a cloud site so that they're safe, secure, and available to the county for retrieval. Goldfinch Digital Transformation specializes in small document imaging. So anything 8.5 by 11 legal size, and particular, and I'm going to show you, this is a picture, I don't know if you've ever been to the warehouse. The documents are in 4 locations. The majority are in the warehouse out by the tracks here, and it does look like the scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark at the end. It's just a lot of records, and this is just one room. There's several rooms full of file cabinets and then books on top of books and books on shelves and 3-ring binders of order books, more file cabinets, boxes of files, and this is still just the warehouse. There are just several rooms of records that if there was a tornado or a fire or a water damage to that building, they'd be wiped out. They wouldn't be available. They are permanent records, and it's the responsibility of the circuit clerk's office to keep those records safe and available to their office and for public use. And so what we're here today is to show you our options as far as preserving and making those documents available over a period of time. We're not expecting to do all this all at once, okay? Here's some photos of, this is juvenile files over at the 911 center. It's made up of several bound books, pinned books. These are the, 12 by 17 that weigh about 30 to 40 pounds each and are printed on 100-year paper, but they're close to over 100 years. And then they also have order books in 3-ring binders, several thousand of those books. This is a photo of the marriage books at the clerk's office, which are very, very active. Probably this is the highest priority that we're looking at. They're in them every day, and as you can see, the bindings are disintegrating. Here we got 3 of them that are disintegrating. This whole row of books are the backings coming off, and they're in them constantly every day. Okay, and more books. We've spent an extensive amount of time cataloging and inventorying these records to get a very good estimate of what's in the warehouse. As you can see here, we've got 22 different record types. This is not all of them. This is only 22 of probably 50 record types. But these are the highest priorities. The ones in yellow are the ones I was just speaking about. Index books, marriage license records, juvenile order books, juvenile entry books, miscellaneous books. These are the highest priority, and this is what's related to the proposals that you have in front of you, okay? Right now, we're estimating on these 22 record types, there's 15.5 million pages. There could be another 15 million pages in the warehouse, if we really look at it and counted them. But 15 million pages and around 6,600 books, okay? And so from the proposals that you have on that were distributed to you, you have 2 ArcaSearch proposals, and I want to explain the difference between those 2. You'll notice that one of them says option on-site digital preservation. The other one just says digital preservation. We, Leanna and Elizabeth have chosen on-site, where we would bring our crew in, and our crews, we have several out on the road, and I'm going to show you. Here's a photo of one of our crews at a county, and I think this was in Clinton, Iowa, doing auditors work. And these are the machines I was speaking about. They're multi-purpose. We can image bound books without cutting the bindings, and pin books in full color image. This is a little video of the equipment that we use to image bound books. You'll notice that there's a table that raises up. It's actually an air bladder that gently pushes the book up against the glass. We take a photo with a 50 megapixel camera up above. The green is green screen, so that we drop out the background. It looks like it's floating in the air. And then we will assign metadata. Usually it's like book and page or some kind of other kind of index number, so it's easily retrievable. Okay? And then the other, let's see here, let's go back. The other proposal that you have in front of you is from, let's see here, Goldfinch Digital Transformation. And I would direct your attention, back here
Let me see the second.
to the proposed document scanning page. So what this is an all-encompassing service that we would pick up the, in this case, we would pick up the documents. They're 8.5 by 11 files, and we would transport them to our facility up in Bettendorf, Iowa. We would image them, put them into a site for the circuit clerk's office, and the all-encompassing fee would be 19 cents per image. In this case, we're looking at, I hope you're following me here, I'm kind of jumping around, but if you look at the on-site proposal on page 6, you'll see juvenile order books. Those are 8.5 by 11. It says digital PDF because Goldfinch will image the books and will import them into the ArcaSearch system so that all of the juvenile records are together. Okay?
That's what I
So
see.
349,000 pages times 19 cents is about $64,000. Add that onto the price down below of 276. You're looking at around $340,000 total to get started. And when I say to get started, this would be the first phase in our work to get the circuit clerk's office started. Second phase would be like second year, probably getting into the newest case file folders. And so, Gary, would you like to make a comment?
I know that we're on the clock, so I'll keep it brief. The entire project is between Goldfinch and ArcaSearch, handling the different document types. Can you hear me okay, Steve?
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
yep, you're good, fine.
Okay. And the combined beginning portion of the project is at Juvenile, which has both large books and file folders and large binder books in that room. So that's a combined project, and that's the first quote that Steve has given you there. The rest of the project, which is made up of the warehouse and the other two locations, by the way, Leo's done a fine job of keeping track of all those documents and organizing and helping us to be able to count through those. We estimated around 20 million pages in the warehouse and the other two locations. So in the proposal that you guys have in front of you that has a pricing page back toward the back of the proposal, that would be to do the entire project after the job is done at the juvenile area. Does that make sense, how we're splitting that up?
I think it makes sense on it. I think one of the questions that we would have is, you guys have started this process. Have we already contractually paid out money to AccuServe yet? Because I know I was down there a couple years ago, Luann and I talked, we had started this process, right? And so what I understand the technology that you use on the binding books, which is the AccuServe, I believe, but I guess maybe I'm simple, but why can't we copy or digitize our own if they're 8 by 11s and run through a scanner?
Well, that would just depend on the resources available to the circuit clerk's office as far as equipment,
Yeah, and
personnel.
that's just something we're gonna have to talk about, because at 19 cents or 17 cents a piece, I think we can do it with a copier for a penny a piece. Digitize. There again, that's just me working in an office setting where we digitized 8x11s. I understand if they're old ancient books and you have to take a picture of them, that's a different format. So just something that we're looking at, but, so the original proposal is to start out in the juvenile, which is number 7, which is about a 500,000 copies, right? Is that what it
Well-
was? 469,000?
The juvenile order books are about
349,000.
349,000.
Oh, 349.
There's also some entry books, 8,400 pages,
Okay,
$22,000 or 22,000 images of order books. And then the other books are index books, marriage license records, and Chapter 112 accounts. So we're looking at a total of 6 different record types
Oh, 6
from
different.
this list that I just showed you a little bit ago.
okay.
Yep. And
So,
You had said that the marriage books were the most used, and I assume, this is me just kind of trying to think, like for genealogy and things like that. So of the 6 types of records, are these like our biggest priority? Like, are they the ones either that are facing the most damage or most used? Okay.
yes.
Okay.
yeah. Anybody
And
else?
how
Oh,
far back do the marriage ones go? I mean, are they from like the beginning of Vigo? I know you guys have some major history in there.
I believe the books are started this prior to that, actually, the
You have to come up. Sorry.
Okay, so the marriage records that we inventoried start in 1958,
Okay.
but there are old ones that are older. They go from 1958 to 2005.
Okay. So these are ones people might be using like to get their licenses, and so that's why you guys are in it so much.
These are the most active.
Can I make a comment too?
Sure, yeah.
Regarding, what you thought, a couple other things to keep in mind. One, if we were to scan them in ourselves, they would be added to the data servers for Vigo County, which we don't have unlimited space of. This would take up huge spaces of that. With this service, I do know that it's going into the cloud. Not that we couldn't do that on our own, but that would be something we would have to look at, because I wouldn't know how to do
Yeah,
that.
I don't know the answer either, yeah.
Secondly, they're also providing us with the database. So if we just were to go start scanning records, I don't have the knowledge to build a database that I can easily get in and search. With them, that is something that they build it for us. And so I just want you to keep those things in mind too.
Is this something that the public will eventually be able to access, or is it mainly go through request in your office, request through still with your office? Okay, I'm getting it.
Yeah,
Getting
because of
on.
the
Because of confidentiality.
confidentiality, like the juvenile. But probate records, I mean, we get into those, those are open, it's public. But keep in mind too, in addition to imaging these records, we're also going to OCR them. So they're going to be fully keyword searchable. Now, we will capture like the name, the case number, or whatever metadata and incorporate that into the header of the file, so that will be searchable as well. But the typewriter was invented in 1913, so everything we're looking at here, most of it's been typed material. It's all OCRable, which means optical character recognition, and then they can search by name. They can go in by case number, search by name, whatever. Did you want to say something, Gary?
Yes, I believe it was the president that was talking about different ways to do the project. I couldn't see on the screen. Somebody was talking about possibly doing it in-house.
Yeah, he was talking about getting a copying machine. And,
Well, we have them.
Yeah,
We have them all over the
it's a
place.
comment that's near and dear to my heart, because I hear in that he's wanting to find the best value and utilization of assets, machinery, budgets, and then people's time and being able to tackle a project like this. So what I'm about to say is not adverse to that. It's just some things to think about. When we look at this project, if you want to do it in a reasonable amount of time, we have 3 people assigned with 130 page per minute scanners that scan both sides. I sold copiers for 30 years, and the fastest copiers in your budget probably would be about around 50 or 75 pages a minute through a feeder on the top of the machine.
Probably.
So you would need 3 or 4 high-speed copiers, 3 or 4 operators, a document management system of software, software to be able to do the OCR, and then space, as we're talking about, probably about 4 terabyte of space, and then cloud cost to be able to store that information, to be able to build a system that would you could retrieve these records quickly and easily. So it set. Are we at 19 cents on this? I can't.
Yes,
read.
19.
It's about. You're going to pay about 20% or 30% more to have it done by a service provider like us, but we can get it done, and we can get it done in a reasonable amount of time. We're also very easy on the front end of something like this because it's a huge project. It took you guys years to build up the records that you're taking care of. So if you wanted to look at possibly allocating a certain amount of money each year for a number of years and start working from the current year backwards toward, back in time, we can do it that way. Or if you want us to start going all the way back to the beginning of the records that are not scanned yet and work forward, we can do that. So there's a lot of different ways to tackle this, and we just want to let you know that we're very flexible because we realize that somebody said it earlier, they said you're spending generous contributions of tax dollars, and you want to handle them correctly and with integrity. So one of the things I want to let you guys know is we will work very closely with you on the project and manage it in such a way that fits all your criteria if you choose to go with us. So anyway, that's what I wanted to add to the discussion.
Yeah, I think this is great information for us, and I see we have a question here. And then, of course, our format here is tonight we gather some information, then we take a week, and then we'll look at it, and we may have some additional questions, and we may have to get with Leanne and Elizabeth to ask any additional questions or a strategy. Travis, you have a question?
So, 2 questions. I assume we retain the original documents, put them back into storage after you guys got all that done.
Certified
So
shredding.
none of that stuff would be destroyed or anything?
Well, that just depends on what the record retention requirements are and what the clerk's office wants to do with them afterwards. If they're a legal record with the state of Indiana, they are available for destruction, and they could be destroyed via certified document destruction. Or they could be boxed up and put in another warehouse somewhere.
Okay. And then your programming and stuff, is there a way that, for instance, if people had to access it online to pay for stuff, could they pay for like each page that they view to recoup some of the cost of what we do?
Well, I mean, you're talking about probably like when we get to the probate
Right.
type files and that, yes, they can pay for it. Because
Perfect.
we have an e-commerce
Okay.
function where somebody, like, let's say the Genealogical Society wants to get in, and they would pay via credit card to get in for like 1 day or a week or a
Yep.
week, however long, and then they would pay for the downloads that they
Perfect.
would. Or
Okay.
you can make it free to the public.
Right.
It's either way.
Okay. Perfect. Thank
And
you.
then at the end of the project, like all of the books with ArchiSearch, we're going to give you 2 hard drives with all the images on them in a plastic case that you can take and put into a bank vault. That's another backup. And just real quick, I wanted to, I didn't at the first, but Gary and I have known each other for 30 years. We've both been in this industry for 35 plus years. I started in 1987 when the recorders started imaging deeds and mortgages. So I've been in this a long time, so is Gary. We bring a lot of experience, you know, combined over 60 years. And so we believe that this is really, you know, 20 years ago, I would have said microfilm was the best media, but now it's digital images and make them searchable, make them available, back them up.
Person.
I was just wondering, you know, you said clear from 1958 to 2005. Okay, what about 2006 until now? Is it already out there on the computers or what?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, so there are actually some smaller books that started in 2006, and I believe through, 2007. I believe it's 2007 or 8 that they are digital now. That is a state site. So any of the newer marriage licenses are printable instantly from our records clerk.
Okay.
Now, any of the ones prior to 1958, those are actually on the Vigo County Library's website. That's where we pull them from as well. That is, the official record is on the library website.
So if we waited long enough, they would just be on the library site anyhow? Is that what we're
Well,
saying?
you would think, though, that by this time they'd have picked up the 50s, but they haven't. So I wouldn't count on that.
Just thought. Okay. Let me see here if anybody else have a question for this?
I just had, in looking through the proposal and just making sure I understand too, obviously you said there's costs that we could roll out. We don't have to do this all at once in one, big bite. But, it also looked like when I was flipping through stuff, is there a yearly fee for, I assume, like our storage and everything,
Cloud-based.
the cloud use?
For the cloud-based.
And maintaining the documents. Was it 8,700 or something like that?
For ArcaSearch, the annual maintenance, actually, the price that we're quoting
There it is.
includes the first year of maintenance,
Okay,
which is $9,000.
okay,
And then year 2, it starts $9,000.
okay.
Now, just so you know, and I'm not trying to discount this, but if in a year you decide not to have us host those images in the cloud, you can stop. You're not tied into a 10-year contract with this, okay?
Especially if we have that hard drive.
You'll have
that's
the
in-
hard drives with
that's
the
in a bank.
images, and you can put them on a server, you can plug them in. There's gonna need to be some work done as far as getting them so people can search them, but yeah, that includes 1 year service from the time that we finish too. So let's just say we finish in 6 months from now with this project, the 1 year maintenance starts then.
Okay, thank you.
It'd be important to clarify something here. We started with the small project that Steve just told you about. That's at I believe it's at the 911, the juvenile area, correct, Steve?
Correct.
The rest of the records that are over in the warehouses, the file folder, filing cabinet, boxes, and cut sheet, smaller sheet from 8.5 by 11 up to, I think some of them are 11 by 17. We've offered 4 different ways to be able to store those records. One would be on premise, on site, on a server that the county wants to manage on its own. And that would be just, we hand you the solid state drive or the USB drive and transfer the records over to your system. We have not had a discussion with the IT department at this point about cloud storage for the rest of those records. So there would be an additional annual cost for cloud storage if you decide to go that way, but we were not able to put that number in the proposal yet without having a discussion internally with IT.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And I think that's what we're going to have to, I want us to look at all the possibilities working with the clerk and the IT and see what we want to do. But I do like the idea of starting small and trying to capture something. And so, because this is out of a fund that has a finite amount of money and an an annual revenue that it creates, so we have to kind of be cognitive of that.
Sure. I understand.
If not, I think we might have gone over the 10 minutes a little bit.
Oh, by a minute.
They,
That's all right.
but I do, a lot of good information here. Anybody else before we wrap it up with, and I do appreciate, and we work well with the clerk's office, and if we have questions and comments, and I'm sure they're going to be here, and they'll be hopefully able to access you via phone if we need you to ask questions next week. Is that, everybody good with that? Okay.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time.
Oh,
Can
Leanne?
I just say one more thing?
Sure.
The only thing that I want to impress.
Get close to the mic.
Sorry. The only thing that I want to impress is these records are really, really getting damaged. And it is our responsibility to make sure that they're secure.
Yeah,
Nobody else has taken on that responsibility.
Well-
And I really feel like, I mean, there have been times in the past where they've tried to do some sort of digitizing, but it didn't work out, obviously. With the weather always being what it is, and it's getting worse and worse, you know, if a big storm came through like it has been in Florida and Georgia and all those places, it could wipe that warehouse out in a heartbeat, and all those records are gonna be damaged.
so, yeah,
That's the
when I
only
got to see
thing.
the warehouse, it didn't look quite this good. There was plastic all over everything,
Right.
and the
It's
roof was
better
leaking, and
now.
the commissioners
Right.
put a new
The
roof on it,
commissioners
so.
put a new roof
Yeah, so
on,
that
and-
was beneficial.
And it's, oh, but yeah, that's the only thing I want you guys to keep
Yeah.
in mind.
Yeah, I
And
think it's a-
we just have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a mega job, just get started and move forward.
Okay,
Thank you guys for your time.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you.
it.
Thank you very much.
okay. That is a big task. Okay, so now under item 6, number 2 would be additional appropriation 2024-71 Solid Waste Management Fund, Employee Benefits, Special Events, Equipment.
Mr. President, Council, my name is Karam Nasser. I am the Vigo County Solid Waste Executive Director. I'm here to ask for additional appropriations. As you guys know,
Page 64.
we are funded through tipping fees through Sycamore Ridge Landfill. Our Solid Waste Board approved this additional appropriation on the 18th of last month. During the 24 budget discussions, one of our employees' spouse did not have spousal carve-out, so that employee had to get the county's insurance, so that's what part of that is for. The other part is for our special events. We've increased and expanded our services. As you guys may or may not know, we have 4 locations now. We have one in West Terre Haute, the one in Haythorne, the street department in the city of Terre Haute, and then the one down south at the South Highway Garage. A lot of people don't realize we don't get credit for the stuff that we get recycled. Basically, we just have Republic Services that takes care of the hauling, goes up to the material processing facility up in Indianapolis, that's sorted, and then it's sent off to the end user. A lot of people think that we get credit for the recyclables, which we don't. In single stream recycling in 2020, we did 109 tons. 2021, we've increased that to 267 tons. 2022, we did 430 tons. 2023, 390 tons, and we're probably on pace for about 510 tons this year. We've also expanding tire recycling to help out the health department. They did a tire intimacy for a couple months, but we do that year round, so we've collected about 3 semi-trailers full of tires for the year, so that's another thing that we've expanded. Glass recycling, in 2023, we did 104 tons. We're probably on pace to about 250 tons. We currently just have the glass recycling at Haythorne and at the street department location. Here in the next couple months, we'll probably do it down at the south location as well. Our e-waste is weekly on the first Saturday of the month. 2023, we did 93 tons. We're on pace to do 100 tons this year. We started back in March. We did furniture disposal a few days of the week. We collected about 16 tons. sure you guys saw our media press release that we had to suspend that due to some abuse by commercial businesses taking advantage of our furniture disposal. By state statute, we can only do our services for residents. We can't do it for commercial businesses. But they are still able to take advantage of it on the first Saturday of the month with our cleanups, which, speaking of cleanups, in 2023, we did 102 tons. We're on pace to about 125 tons. This last week, we had to close early because we filled 5 dumpsters up by noon. We probably had a line, 10 cars waiting to get stuff disposed of. So we've been pretty busy on that. You know, we're talking about documents. We've been assisting the city and the county with disposing of their sensitive information. We did 45 tons in 2023. We're probably on pace to about 75 tons in 2024. We've also, Commissioner Blinkenbeard has spearheaded the CSI Clean Streets Initiative. We've given bags, gloves, grabbers, and vests to various organizations as well as community corrections. We've probably given out 150 grabbers, 25 boxes of gloves, 100 vests, and 150 cases of bags. All those items that I've mentioned comes out of our special events line item, so that's why we need that increase for this year for that. In April, I'm sure you've also saw that we were approved by IDEM for a composting permit. We've been working on that. It's going to be at the South Highway Garage. We will be taking yard waste year-round. I know we did it through these storms that we had in June, but we'll be doing that year-round. And then we also are working on agreements with Republic Services that will be taking food waste from Indiana State University and from the school corporation. The federal government and the state has been wanting more and more solid waste districts to do that. We'll be one of only 3 that do that in the state. Our projections are we'll be diverting 100 tons a week to go into the landfill. So we're really excited about that. So the the equipment line item is to kind of help us get started on that. We've had to purchase a building to, when people check in, we'll have a building down there at the South Highway Garage. So I'm here to ask for you guys to approve our request for an additional appropriation. I can answer any questions that you guys may or may not have.
Were you involved in the fire this morning?
Yes, me and Mr. Blinkenbeard, and just for the record, and I know Tribune Star is here, we did get approval from the state on that.
I saw that on the post.
They do that when there's storms because there's a lot of need to get rid of that. The big question is a lot of people wondered why we didn't keep that for our composting facility, but we still have to do some ground prep, build some berms, retention pond, so we still have to do some stuff before we're able to get started on the composting, and we had to get rid of the brush somehow. So hopefully this is the last year we'll have to burn it.
Any other questions?
I just commend you on us moving forward with some of the recycling efforts. I know there's been a big push
Yes,
in the community, and to hear that we're one of 3 in the state that are taking on this initiative, I mean, it's something to be proud of. So
Yeah, you know, and
I appreciate you being aggressive with it.
Thank you, and it helps that we have a good board that is mindful of that. Councilwoman Wager's on there, the 3 commissioners, Councilwoman Cheryl Loudermilk, and the mayor. So, you know, they let me do my thing, and I think we're doing a great job, so I appreciate the compliment.
And who knew that you could take solid waste and turn it into so many numbers there? Karam, Karam's a number guy. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I just, you know, when I come up here, I want you guys to know what we're doing. You know, we still have some challenges with educating people on, you know, it's great that we're recycling, but a lot of the initiatives that we're supposed to do is to repurpose products, reuse them, and recycling as well. So, you know, Commissioner Blinkenbeard is also helping us get a grant through the Wabash Valley Community Foundation that will be able to do some education in the schools. Since COVID, I haven't been able to do that, but now that, you know, COVID's over, we're hoping to get into the schools and start with kids at a younger age.
I do want to say also, Karen, I commend you for the job that you're doing. I know you work a lot of hours, and when you were appointed, I think you know, we might have caught a little bit of grief for making that appointment. You really have done a stellar job, and I know you work a lot more hours and you get recognized for it. I'm really proud of you. I think you do a yeoman's job.
Great, thank you.
Really good.
Appreciate that.
And he didn't say, I just come here so you'll give me back my money. You know, he didn't say it this time.
Maybe next week I'll do that, but hopefully not. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, the next section is public comment. Any public comment? Come on up.
Oh, hey, John.
Joe Shackelford with the Honey Creek Fire Protection District. I'd like to thank the council for the action you took tonight on the public safety local income tax. It is a huge boost to the fire departments out there. Thank you.
You're welcome. We never get tired of that. Anybody else like to thank us at this time? Any other public comment? Hearing none, I'd say accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank everybody.